Hello and welcome to another lesson of business communication. We had a few lessons previously and now we have another one. Dear listeners, I'm Adnan Ayaz and we'll have a new topic today, which is significance of English in official communication. So without any further ado, let's just keep moving on towards our topic. The content, the topics, and the subheadings that we are going to cover are importance and benefits of communication, components of communication, concepts and problems of communication, verbal and non-verbal communication. That's what we are going to be covering in today's lesson. Let's move on. Now, the first thing is why effective communication is necessary. Why do we need to communicate very effectively? So the answer is, if you can communicate effectively in speaking and writing, you have a highly valued skill. Effective communication is a basic job requirement and first among the personal factors necessary for promotion. It requires a lot of things, and this is one of them. Moving on, how to define communication. Well, we have various definitions here. First, we have is that communication is the exchange of information between humans who are aware of each other. This information is transmitted, interpreted, received on a conscious as well as a subconscious level. Or we can define it in other words, communication is a process of receiving verbal and non-verbal messages. Or we have another definition, which will be giving, receiving, or exchanging information, opinions, or ideas by writing, speech, or visual means, so that the message communicated is utterly fathomed by the recipient, or the message is clearly understood by the recipients. Now, this last definition contains three things: the process, then the medium, mode, and the purpose or goal accomplishment, whatever the goal is of this message. So let's move on to the next slide and let's see what we have there. And significance of business communication. Now, lifeline, it's a lifeblood of every organization through interaction, reaction, and communication. It has a stronger relationship through the internal or external communication, then improves decision-making, verbal or written, increased production, lower turnover of employees or staff, personal and professional growth. Next, then we have professional and personal life benefits. In professional benefits, we have a job recruitment. When you are selected, or when you're going to be selected for the job, you will be going through this job recruitment process. We'll be helping you throughout that. The better speaker you are, the higher the chances are for getting your hands on that particular job, and an essential for promotion. So it helps you get promoted. The better speaker you are, the better corresponding you can do. It will help you achieve the promotion faster, quicker than others. Then we have, here we have a job recruitment ad, and we'll find out how important this communication is in jobs and how badly it is required. Let's look at it. Must be able to communicate effectively with all levels of management, must have substantial experience of training in oral and written presentations, must demonstrate good writing skills, will prepare spatial analysis, research reports, and proposals. And then needs ability to compose effective correspondence, must have ability to communicate and sell ideas, must be able to cultivate and maintain good customer relationships, needs skills in gathering, analyzing, and interpreting data, and in writing analytical reports. So you may understand the importance of writing effectively or speaking effectively or better communication in jobs. And now we have components of communication. Communication is considered effective when it achieves the desired response from the receiver. Simply speaking, communication is a two-way process of exchanging information. To understand the two-way process, we need to understand the components or parts of communication. So let's find out what they are. Now, here are the 6 components of effective communication. Number 1 is context and sender or encoder. We have message, medium, receiver, decoder, feedback. And this whole process is also called communication process. Let's talk about them one by one. Context. Every message, whether oral or written, begins with the context. Context means the background or the situation in which you communicate. The context may be as a result of some external stimuli that makes you send a message. For example, a letter, email, fax, or a telephone call. The context may be as a result of some ideas or feeling. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Now, the sender or encoder. When you send a message, you are the encoder. Encoder means the writer or the speaker. Depending on whether your message is written or oral, you choose a combination of words that the reader shall understand and respond in a way that you need. For effective communication, you should decide an effective channel for communication, for communicating the message, both written or oral. So let's move on to number 3, which is message. The message is a core idea that you wish to communicate. It consists of both verbal, written, and spoken, and non-verbal, unspoken symbols. First of all, you have to decide what your message is and what you should include in that. The receiver of the message must be considered while writing your message, especially his or her level of understanding. Now, here comes the 4th part, medium. Should you write or speak to communicate your message? Selecting a method to communicate your message, like email, printed, or oral, is called the medium. Language used, like what language are you using? Language used is also a part of medium. Let's move on to next one, which is number 5, receiver or decoder. The message receiver is your reader or listener, also called decoder. Many of your messages may have more than one decoder. Receiver receives messages through the eyes and ears, but are also by their mental filters. So there may be chances of miscommunication, but effective managers tend to keep it at minimum. All right, I move on to number 6, feedback. The reaction or response of receiver, either the desired response based on a clear understanding of the message or with an undesired response based on miscommunication, is known as feedback. It may also be an action, for example, receiving the items that you ordered. Sometimes silence is used as feedback. Sender needs feedback in order to confirm the success or failure of communication. So these are the 6 parts of this communication process. Moving on to the next one. Now we have got types of communication. So there are basically 2 types of communications, verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication that involves words like written or spoken. Nonverbal communication, the process of sending and receiving wordless messages like gestures, facial expressions, body language, eye contact, symbols, dress, etc., includes nonverbal communication. Now, moving on to another one, it's a note that you should keep in mind. Communication process applies to both verbal and nonverbal communication. Whether you're doing a verbal or nonverbal communication, the method, the process applies to both, either of them. Moving on to the nonverbal, the factors, the elements that we have in nonverbal communication are how we stand, our position of, how we stand while we're talking, our facial expressions, postures, laughing, whether we're laughing or smiling, having a looming, gloomy face, use of legs and how we're standing, whether we're moving or not, how we're standing, use of arms. That all comes under the category of nonverbal communication. Then we have common problems and common problem areas. The following are supposed to be the most common problem areas. There could be problems sending, environment, and receiving. Either the sender will have a problem, or the environment could create a problem for you, or the receiver may have some problem. So let's have a look at them one by one. So, okay, there is noise in the environment. Noise creates distortions of the message and prevents it from being understood the way it is intended. Noises may be ringing, like maybe ringing telephone, honking horns, time, like inappropriate time, maybe an obstacle to give message clearly, like Thursday afternoon is totally inappropriate for a heavy meeting. So that's a noise in the environment or other time barriers, time factors. So let's move on to another one, which is receiver problems. We are coming to sender problems as well. So receiver may have some problems. Poor listening ability, it could be one of the problems. Lack of attention could be another problem. Emotional state could be another problem. Stress, fear, anger, the person is angry or under some stress. Okay, then we could have prejudgments. There are prejudgments about a particular topic, particular people, a group of cliche or something. So that is another problem. Now, then we have, be sure that the receiver is attentive, like he's listening to you, he's ready for your message. So that could be a problem. That could be, these are the problems that likely to be a problem or a difficulty or a barrier in your message, in receiving your message. Okay, that's gonna be all for today. Thank you very much. I hope you find this video useful. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.